Hello and welcome to Real to Real Talk. I am your host, Paul Britton. Here with me to review Superman and other things is Sergio
Hey, Paul,
Mora.
how's it going?
I'm doing all right. My headphones aren't working. I'll figure that out another time. I should have tried them out earlier, but such is life.
If I've learned anything in the years of doing this, is that your technology won't fail until you need it.
Right. Well, I don't necessarily need it. We can always, we're using the computer audio. We're using the computer mic as well. So as long as people can hear me, even if I might sound a little tinny or something, apologize for that in advance. But hey, you know what? We're here to talk not about equipment, but about a movie that made $140 million over the weekend. And that movie is Superman.
Yeah, in fact, I thought I saw that it had a recross 200 million. Maybe that was.
That's possible.
Yeah,
That's possible.
yeah, it opened big.
It's summertime, so
Right.
kids aren't staying away just because it's Monday,
Right?
And then they have the Thursday, so there's Thursday and Monday, so I could see that totaling out to be over 200 million.
Yeah, it did well. It did well.
Yeah,
and
for reason, I'm gonna say for reason. So you and I believe we've reviewed Justice League. Yes,
we did a long time ago.
Yeah. And then obviously, to go with that, Wonder Woman 1984, and I don't know. I think you were done by the time the second Aquaman came out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, by far. In fact,
were you around for Black Adam?
I was, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the things that, again, these franchises suffer from is just this disjointedness of, and maybe it's me, maybe it's my fault because I want a cohesive story across, but yeah, no, I was here for Black Adam. I don't think I did. I know I didn't see Aquaman 2. Was it 2? Yeah.
You didn't even see it.
No, I didn't. I had 0.
You're all right. You didn't. You're doing fine. You're
good.
I assure you. But my point in doing this is that we have had a lot of occasion to see DC movies and to not be super happy about them.
Oh, pretty consistently, yeah.
Yeah, and here we are. We have a DC movie. This is the first one in the new DC universe. I don't know what they're calling it. We'll call it just the James Gunn universe. Okay. This is like really the first one in that universe. Granted, you could maybe it's the first official one. He did make another one. He made the Suicide Squad, which was okay. Some people really liked it. I thought it was only okay. But here we go. This is kicking it off. It's Superman. It's iconic. This has to go well. Let's not downplay the stakes here. This has to go well. Not only because it's James Gunn kicking off a new universe, but because every rendition of Superman they've done since literally Superman 2 in 1980 has been at best completely mediocre.
Okay.
Including both Justice League movies, including Batman versus Superman, the Man of Steel movie, which is just, god awful. And
wow, why does that surprise me? Did we not review that one together?
I don't know. We may have, we may not have. I think that came out after we started doing this.
Interesting. I never thought that's how you felt about it. Okay.
Yeah, we started doing this in 2019. So yeah. I'm pretty sure Man of Steel came out before that.
Yeah, 2013. You're right.
And I can tell you why I thought Superman Man of Steel was god awful, because the character that they depicted in that movie was not Superman. At least not any rendition of Superman that had ever been put to film, in a comic book, in a novel, anything. There had never been a Superman that just didn't give a shit about anybody. And this was a Superman that killed millions of people without any sort of regard, concern, or attempts to save any of those millions of people. There might have been one or two token scenes of him catching rubble before it fell on a baby carriage.
Right,
But
right.
those were only cursory, and I am 100% sure that Snyder only put those in because the studio said, hey, look, you can't have Superman just randomly killing people for no reason. Like,
Right.
if you can have him kill a whole bunch of people, but he has to save at least one, maybe two people. And so Snyder begrudgingly said, all right. And so here we are. And it's and I gotta say, spoiler alert to the end. They fucking figured it out. They were like, okay, we know what Superman's supposed to be about.
Okay.
And they at least, worst case scenario, they gave us a Superman that was actually Superman.
Okay.
And I would go so far as to say they gave us a Superman that was at least Superman in an entertaining movie. You're holding back, and so I'm going to go ahead and assume that you would rather watch Man of Steel.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So, full transparency.
Yeah.
It's been a week. I've had a lot of time to formulate my thoughts because that there are times when I have to say, okay, get out of my own head about my feelings and talk about the film from a standpoint of quality, right?
Sure.
This was not an experience I enjoyed, this particular movie. But I think a lot of it has to do with what I, over the last decade or longer, very much longer, my superheroes are not based on comic books or any sort of background in comic books.
Sure.
They're all based on film. And so what I prefer is very much influenced by the movies I love.
Okay.
Like, I enjoyed Man of Steel.
All right.
I was about Justice League and Batman, Superman versus Batman or whatever it was called. They're not the best movies, but I enjoy them. But though that is what informs my view of superhero movies.
Okay.
And so that's why I if I'm fair, I didn't enjoy this movie because it just isn't my wheelhouse of how I want my superheroes to be.
Okay, cool. So let's establish what this superhero is. So we're introduced to Superman 3 years. There's a pre-start of the movie sort of title crawl type of thing, where we find out that 300 years ago the first metahuman came around. 30 years ago, Superman crash landed, on Earth. 3 years ago, Superman made his presence known to the world as a metahuman that was here to help humanity.
Right.
And we also find him recently embroiled in international affairs where a U.S. ally who is clearly not attuned with, we'll just call them U.S. Moral, proclaimed moral activities, was going to, invade a very much weaker neighbor.
Yeah.
Until Superman came in and said, "No, you're not going to do that." Superman came in but we don't see that. What we see is that, or what we're told is that, like 3 minutes ago, Superman just lost his first ever fight to a metahuman called the Baravian Hammer or something like that.
Hammer of Baravia, yeah.
Yeah, the Hammer of Baravia. And we see him crash land wounded in Antarctica, and it's the scene that we've seen in the trailer where he crash lands in the snow and his dog comes and brings him to the Fortress of Solitude. So that's where the movie picks up. We're in the middle of it. So for right off the bat, they're not giving me an origin story. So
which I'm okay with. I was okay with.
Absolutely. Your floor is probably about 2 stars for me if you're not giving me another damn origin story of Superman.
Right.
And what we find out pretty quickly thereafter too is that the main bad guy, who is actually in control of the Hammer of Baravia is Lex Luthor,
Right.
and so we get Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, who, I mean, you compare Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor to the ridiculous portrayal by Jesse Eisenberg of Lex Luthor, who I have no idea what he was trying to be, but he didn't come across as particularly intelligent, but he did come off as absolutely insane, and I don't know that was necessarily a Lex Luthor I cared about.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because my take on what was his name, Jesse Eisenberg?
Yeah.
I've always wondered, was his take that he was son of Lex?
No, he was Lex Luthor.
It wasn't? Okay,
no,
because that's the problem I had with it, is based on the writing and based on, and I've seen it more than a few times. Yeah. I've always felt like his take was, because he references his dad.
Okay.
And so anyway, I don't want to go too far off the rabbit trail, but it had a lot to do with why I didn't like his portrayal. You can't beat Gene Hackman. That's the bar.
Right. The bar is Gene Hackman. Yeah. And let's just establish this. Let's just establish this in the comic universe. The greatest comic book villain ever is Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. Like, I'm not. If you want to have a conversation, maybe. Well, no, actually, it's Thanos. I'll listen to your conversation, but then I'm just going to say no.
Oh yeah, even I can say that's no. It's Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor. Yes, we're right 100% on that.
Gene Hackman, which is ironic because my number one, well, not my number one, but one of my biggest problems with all these DC movies has been that the villains are always just shit, and it's like I don't understand how you can have, in the 70s, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, and then never be able to figure out a villain ever again, at all. Come even close,
Yeah. Well, my theory is that the beauty of Lex Luthor, at least in the take that Gene Hackman had, and that whole story was based on, was he had nothing in the way of, he was just a villain. He was just bad. Yeah. And so once you start layering in the supernatural or whatever, it's like, it's no longer about the villain. And so he played what, from the limited knowledge I have of comic book Lex Luthor, and you got to harken back to the early days of the story, comic wise, he played it purely because, or from a standpoint of thinking he was delusional, and that is where his villainy sourced from.
Right.
And that's all he needed.
Yeah. And so here we have Nicholas Hoult, and so and then the story progresses. Obviously, it's going to be a story of Lex Luthor trying to undermine Superman. Obviously, Lex Luthor is involved in Baravia and is behind a lot of things going on. Basically, everything. He's the criminal mastermind behind everything going on, and so then it just becomes how is this going to unfold? How is Superman going to defeat the people?
Right.
I don't. So, sir, I'm kind of surprised that you didn't like this. I'm not even sure how to attack this. I guess let's start with just the basic plot. Like, did you have problems with the basic plot, or was it?
It was. I think most of it was the execution of it. So many times made me. I had rolled my eyes a lot in the last movie we talked about, and so I was still sore, and I just rolled my eyes even more.
Oh, interesting.
Because again, like, this was not Lex Luthor. This is not a Lex Luthor I wanted. This was influencer Lex Luthor. Okay, it was very heavily based on today's day and age, which again, I think, I don't know, it was just too over the top.
Okay.
It certainly did harken back to, he's just human, he's delusional.
Yeah.
But all the tech and all that was like, okay, I just don't really, I don't know. There's something didn't say well. So overall, the story and the plot, I like the idea of it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of it of the execution of it that just didn't land for me.
Okay.
In terms of how it was all, how it all was put together.
Right.
The other thing the reason I didn't enjoy it was because so many of the beats of the film were so rapid fire that because they wanted to show you, it really felt to me like they signposted, hey, look, we didn't do an origin story, and now you got to know all these things.
Okay.
But there are some moments that I hope we talk about that definitely stood out for me as really, really strong.
Okay.
But in the overall, I
Right.
felt like things were just too jammed together.
Okay.
And the pacing felt very stilted.
Okay.
Throughout the entire thing. And I couldn't really soak anything in. By the time we get to the battle, you mentioned a very strong country versus a very weak country. Ridiculously portrayed. Okay. When one has weapons and technology and the others have pitchforks, I'm like, So yeah, there were just a lot of things throughout this film that were just really didn't sit with me.
So let's just start off by acknowledging that this movie is very thinly coded for everything that's going on in the world today.
Amen, brother.
Everything is coded to what's going on.
And
Arabia is Israel. The other country, Jalalapur is Palestine. Very thinly coded.
Yeah, if at all.
Lex Luthor is Elon Musk. Very thinly coded, like not even no attempts to pretend like he is anything other than Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And by the way, in the comics, I mean, he's an industrialist. Like he owns a company called LexCorp, and that is real. That's like basically the acme. LexCorp is the acme of the DC universe. Absolutely. Like where if you're watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon, it doesn't. If it's a Warner Brothers cartoon, Acme is going to show up.
Absolutely.
If it's a DC comic, LexCorp is going to show up. Okay. So so the one thing they didn't do in Superman 1 and 2 was establish LexCorp, as this really important conglomerate.
Right.
Whereas they just kind of, set Lex Luthor down as being this evil genius that has money enough to have stuff. And put forth his plans. Well, the reason why he has the money is because he owns this corporation.
Right.
I mean, they do establish in that first movie that his company has been buying up land, through shell corporations, but they downplay his corporate interest because in the 1970s. That's not really a thing, like that's not really something that is is a problem. Whereas today, it's kind of a big fucking problem, corporate entities. The Superman and the people's reaction towards him is very thinly coded as, people's reaction towards James Gunn on social media, specifically James Gunn and also just kind of art in general, so and then the thing that I liked the least about this movie was that Lex Luthor, one of the things that happened that were in media res that were dropped into the middle of is that Lex Luthor has created a pocket dimension because he tried to recreate the black hole,
right?
And so he is keeping his own prisoners in the pocket dimension, and he ends up dragging Superman into the pocket dimension, and Superman has no rights in the pocket dimension. No, Superman has no ability to get out of the pocket. Blah blah blah. It's like my problem there is you don't need a fucking pocket dimension. Like yes, we get it. The pocket dimension is, basically Guantanamo Bay or whatever terrible place that the U.S. government or wherever people are hiding people without any sort of, ability to or recourse. It's like, we don't need the pocket dimension. And all of the pocket dimension graphics are terrible compared to the rest of the graphics of the effects of the movie. And every time they go into the pocket dimension, I'm just like, I don't fucking want to be here. I want to be, even if Superman's there, I don't care. So that's my biggest problem was the pocket dimension.
Yeah. No, I agree. I had a lot of problem with that too. And a lot of mine is also because I just wish we did. I know this wasn't alternate universe, but it was adjacent, and it's like
it's basically an alternate universe.
Yeah. Why do we need to? In fact, I think they called it a pocket universe. So it's
that's
like
right. It's a pocket. It's like pocket universe.
I just want one setting.
Yeah.
For an entire.
Don't need. If you want to give Lex Luthor portals, Awesome.
Sure.
He can have all the fucking portals he wants.
Right.
The portals don't need to go through a fucking pocket universe. Like
Yeah.
it's just guess what? You want to have Lex Luthor? Literally, this happens in the movie. Hashtag spoiler alert. You want to have Lex Luthor training monkeys to go onto social media and shit talk Superman.
Yeah.
You know, awesome. Guess what? He doesn't have to be in a fucking pocket universe to
That's
be
a
training
big
monkeys.
building he's in already. Yeah, exactly. I will say that made me laugh. That
Yeah,
really, there were moments. There
Yeah.
were moments.
Yeah. So, but ultimately, if you strip away the thinly veneered, everything is a stand-in for what's going on in the world today. I appreciated the fact that Superman cared about humans. I appreciated the fact that, like, so in the trailers you see the Green Lantern, you see Hawk Girl, and you see Mr. Terrific, who form not the Justice League but the Justice Gang,
right?
Which this is another thing I didn't like. It turns out to be a subsidiary of Lord Corp. So basically, they are a corporate sponsored hero group.
Right.
I hated this portrayal of Green Lantern. Like, and I get it. They're trying to go as far away from the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern as possible, and Hal Jordan probably will show up at some point, but they're not going with the Hal Jordan Green Lantern. They're going with the Green Lantern that you literally have to be like 80 years old to have any memory of whatsoever.
Right.
And it's not interesting. Like, his portrayal is not interesting. The Justice Gang is not interesting. I don't need the Justice Gang. However, they did provide me with my second favorite part of the movie, which was the scene where Superman is having a heart-to-heart with Lois Lane, and in the background you see the Justice Gang dealing with extra-dimensional entity, and it's just completely going on. It's a perfect James Gunn scene where it's going on in the background, and you kind of see what's going on in the background, and you kind of see that, you know, they might have some problems, but ultimately Superman does acknowledge it and says it's just an extra-dimensional beast. They could deal with it. They got it covered.
Yeah, and therein lies some of the other struggles I had with this movie. Is like James Gunn can't let a scene just be. It always has to lead to something that's a joke or something. And it's like, there were some great exchanges between Lois and Clark, and that just leave them alone. Like, let it be. There was a lot of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and I'm like, it took me out of so many moments. Funny, yes, absolutely, but I just felt like everything was leading to a punchline.
Yes.
And that is what this movie, it causes this movie to suffer a bit, because from a story standpoint, I can't deny that it was a strong plot. I wasn't keen on the portrayal of Superman too much, because there was a little bit too much of a whiny nature to him throughout the beginning, at least through the first act. I'm just not used to my Superman having that like sort of emotional side. But again, informed by what my experience with Superman mostly is, which is film. And so, but
I want to interject here, because there's this scene in Superman 2 where Clark and Lois are having a moment, and he's very emotional, and but then he stops being emotional. Like, he does shut it down.
Exactly. And so,
but again, those emotions are there. Like,
absolutely. I just don't need them there.
Okay.
You know, I have had an issue with this casting. I don't know the guy. I don't know the actor.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's been in before, so I didn't have a frame of reference for his portrayal that I could, never having seen his work. This is the first time you're Superman. You really got to bring it.
Yeah, of course.
And it just felt, for me, and many might regret it, it just felt generic. It didn't feel like a rounded out portrayal of this character. And by this point, if it's been this many years, even though it's only been 3 that he's been present, there's this confidence that was lacking that I just didn't. I'm like, why is he so he's so what's the word I'm looking for? There was
Millennial.
an emo quality to him that was
Yeah,
like, why? What is happening?
he's a millennial Superman,
Eh,
Sergio.
okay, but that's not the Superman I want.
Superman cannot just always be Boomer Superman that you and I had in the 70s. Superman cannot just always be Gen X Superman that was just terrible and shit in the
And so
Snyderverse.
that's why I have to be very careful what I end up giving this movie, because I can't let me be the
Yeah.
big, the
You
only factor.
you want Boomer Superman again, and I
I
get
do.
it.
I
I
do.
get it. I get it. But God, I hated Gen X Superman. I just hated him
Okay.
so much.
Yeah.
There was nothing, and being a Gen Xer, there was nothing even about Superman that reflected Gen X. Like I
Yeah.
felt like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to get into a conversation about the Snyderverse. I
Sure.
really don't. What I do want to say is what I liked about this Superman was
Okay.
during the fight with the kaiju.
Yes.
Okay.
The cartoon kaiju. Go ahead.
Yeah, the kaiju, the graphics on the kaiju were not great, and
Yeah.
the kaiju, like you said, mentioned, is a little cartoony. And this is where we are introduced to the Justice Gang, and the Justice Gang is the point of this scene. I felt like was Gunn saying, "I understand what your complaints were about the Snyder Superman, and here's how I'm making it different." Because the differences between this Superman in relation to what was going on around him and what these other superhumans were doing, and the Snyder Superman and his relationship to what was going on around him and what other superhumans were doing around him, could not have been more night and day. Sure. Because you have Superman who you honestly believe cares about what he's doing and cares about people, and isn't doing it because, oh fuck, I gotta do this. He's doing it because he wants to do it, because he wants to help, and the people need his help, and he is there to help, not because he is burdened by it. And well, if there's collateral damage, fuck him. Like literally, that's just, in Man of Steel, all we get from Superman is, if there's collateral damage, as long as I get my battle and I win my battle, I'm good. Like everything else going on around me, I don't give a flying fuck. And it's egregious. I mean, Man of Steel is so terrible because he doesn't fucking care at all. Whereas, and you don't, and this is a criticism, Sergio. This is a criticism, and I apologize. I was going to say this is not a criticism, but it is.
It's a criticism.
You do not need to have read a single Superman comic, because I haven't. Okay, I haven't. But I watched the television show. I
didn't.
Okay, so that's, but I watched the television show, and I religiously watched all of the Christopher Reeves movies. The one thing that you know about Superman is that he goes to extreme lengths to not hurt people, and not only to not hurt people by action, but by consequence of his actions hurt people. Like collateral damage is not a thing in any Superman.
Are we saying that did not occur at all in this film? Because I remember there were a lot of people around and buildings getting destroyed that you can't tell me where. In my mind, how do you evacuate? How do you evacuate them so quickly?
During the kaiju?
During multiple scenes in this film.
During the kaiju, Superman spends his entire time making sure that the kaiju doesn't hurt a single human.
Absolutely. Okay. But
now,
if you're basing it on just that, then okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kaiju scene.
Fair.
Now, do people die because buildings get knocked over? Absolutely. But that isn't Superman does not knock down a single building. Okay. Superman is not responsible for the demolition of a single building in this movie. Okay. In Man of Steel, Superman is directly or indirectly responsible for the destruction of every single fucking building in Metropolis that gets knocked down. Okay. Why? Because he engages with Zod in fucking Metropolis rather than saying, fuck this noise, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm taking this
the Godzilla effect. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm taking this fight somewhere else, which is exactly what this Superman does, which is exactly what Superman would do because he doesn't want there to be collateral damage. Gotcha. And it makes the Man of Steel such a pointlessly dumb and pointlessly cruel and pointlessly intentionally bloody movie. Whereas this movie is super bloody, but not because Superman just doesn't give a shit that people die on his watch.
Gotcha.
And it honestly, it makes the actions of Lex Luthor so much more impactful in my mind. And it makes the carelessness of the Justice Gang so much more clear, and like the differences could not be more obvious.
Yeah.
And yes, I do think that from a James Gunn standpoint, the Justice Gang is a little too comic-y, like comedic, which is part of the reason why I just didn't like this rendition of Green Lantern, because it's just like Green Lantern's kind of badass. Oh, my other exposure to Superman is the Saturday morning cartoons, the Justice League cartoon.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that from way back.
And and it's just Superman and Captain America came out around the same time. Captain America, the First Avenger.
Okay.
And I remember Man of Steel. And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine who was a huge comic book guy and had read all the comic books, both Superman and he read every comic book. And the conversation was, Captain America is an amazing Superman movie, and Man of Steel is just unrecognizable as a Superman movie. And that's just really what the reality of it is that Man of Steel was unrecognizable as a Superman movie. And this gave us a Superman movie that felt worthy of Superman for the first time since 1980. And that's how I felt.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Why does the one before Man of Steel get lost?
Because I actually prefer that significantly over Man of Steel. Superman Returns.
Yeah. There you go.
There are several problems with it. One, it's a direct sequel to Superman 2. Yeah. So now you have to kind of ignore that Superman 3 and 4 happened at all. And just assume that this Superman is Christopher Reeve, and assume that this Lex Luthor being played by Kevin Spacey, who was Apex Kevin Spacey, by the way, is Gene Hackman. It's just weird. That's just weird.
Right.
And it's okay. It's in my personal Superman rankings, it would be number 4 of all the movies that feature Superman. That's coming in at number 4 right after this one. So Superman 1 and 2, Superman 2025, Superman Returns, and then like big drop Superman 3, another big drop Superman 4, a crater down to just pick whatever Snyder movie you want. And you can put them in any order, and I don't care because they're all bad.
Got it. I have to comment, before as we move forward on this.
Sure.
I absolutely abhorred the portrayal of his parents, his Earth parents, as just, I'm sorry. It was like, come on, they're brighter than this.
They're not stupid. They're just country like that.
Yeah, I get it. But there was just something off about how country they made them. Maybe I just prefer Diane Lane and Kevin Costner, but that's me. The other thing that was a big miss for me, that bugged me, was we are supposed, and I know what you're going to say because that's what everybody has said since I've made this comment, but I will fight till the end of my life that I'm right on this. The idea that and you're going to say that Lex doctored it, but it was never established for sure that was the case. That message from his parents was supposed to be that second half And the reason I say that it wasn't doctored is because of what his Earth father says to him. Your version of what the second half would have been is better. And you're better because it's what you wanted it to be.
Well, so here's the problem is that there's clearly so I hear what you're saying, and I wasn't sure if we would get into the minutia of this, but that's cool. You brought it up. Let's
the minutia is what killed this for me. That's why I wanted to bring it
up. Yeah, and I support you 100%. And one of my other problems with this movie was that when people are presented today in today's day and age, when people are presented with video evidence of something, they are really, really, really slow to change their mind on things.
Sure.
People have preconceived notions, and seeing a social media post of a video that clearly is damaged. Like, so there is a video that Superman likes to watch from his parents. The video got damaged on the way from Krypton to Earth. And he only gets to see like the first minute and a half of the video, and it's very inspiring. And it says, "Hey, help these people out," blah blah blah. And then it cuts out, and they establish there's nothing we can do to fix the second half. Lex Luthor has this hacker woman, the engineer, who's able to get the second half of the of the video, and it's them saying, "Look, you're better than these people. Command them and bow them into submission." Right. And everybody instantly on a dime immediately changes their opinions on him. Everybody changes their opinions on him and starts hating him. And it's like, that is not how this works. And James Gunn is basically saying,
not these days?
No. Okay. James Gunn is basically saying that everybody turned against me. He's like, no, James Gunn, not everybody turned against you. It's just that enough people turned against you that Disney decided, you know what, we're going to pull you from Guardians 3. And then they eventually brought you back anyway. If you,
you're thinking, okay.
I am going to give you a perfect example here. There was video evidence of our president, our current sitting president in 2016, saying, "I grab him by the pussy."
Right.
Did that change any of his fans' minds on whether this person should be president?
No, I get what you're saying.
There is video evidence of this president mocking a disabled person. Has that changed anybody's? Did that change anybody's minds on whether or not they're going to support him?
What I'm saying is, when it comes to people who are, and I don't even know how to say this, Paul, without it. So follow me on this thought, please.
Good people.
Yes. Unfortunately, to those who would be deemed in our society today, in our current situation, good people, there is far more damage done to them than, to your point, which you're absolutely right on, than to those who are so clearly. And that's not just him. There's several people, and so I don't know what the whole what the dark magic behind all that is. But I'm saying, it wasn't a big leap for me that in the movie the people would turn on Superman so decidedly, so quickly.
Okay, because
he's been fooling us. You see what I'm saying?
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. Even when they're presented with the video evidence. If I'm a logical person who's a fan of Superman, and I watch this video and I see that there's a start which is undeniably inspirational and undeniably wonderful, and then there's a glitch because there's still a glitch in the video,
right?
And then there's an end which is questionable in what it's presenting. I'm instantly going to assume, oh shit, well that glitch probably is, we're missing context here.
If more people were like you, I would agree.
But I'm just saying there are people like me out there who would watch that and be like, you know what, that fucking glitch seems rather important because the tone of the thing does a complete 180 from the first half to the second half. And I kind of feel like that middle part is super important. Sure. Like, what if the super part, by the way, this is what I'm assuming this middle part was. What if the middle part was, you're going to find that there are bad people out there with bad intentions who are going to come after you and try to undo the good that you're trying to do and try to knock you down and try to knock down the good people. For those people, you need to make sure that you put them into submission and blah 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 blah.
That's you that's you using your very good logic to patch the film.
Right.
What I'm saying is the film is flawed in that regard because it doesn't ever address that it was a fixed or edited thing.
They don't even acknowledge the glitch in the middle.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nobody acknowledges the glitch in the middle. And
Absolutely.
It's so obvious. And it's like, you need one person. You know, they show a montage of media reactions to it. They need one person, because there's going to be, in all the media that we have, there's going to be one person who says, hey, look, guys, I know that it's really easy to knock on Superman because his parents said this one terrible thing. But one, there's a glitch in the middle. Mm-hmm. And two, the idea that he's grooming us by being nice to us to then turn around and be complete shit to us is utterly absurd.
It's a leap, yeah.
And I'm not here to I'm not making logical assumptions of what Superman's long-term plans are. You know, because he has given us no indication that he's going to do something that is bad.
Yeah,
and that, and so it's a flaw in the movie, and I agree with you.
Yeah, it would take just a few seconds of exposition and the conclusion of this thing to clear that up for me.
Yep.
So
but ultimately, the negatives for me, it's not a perfect movie. Okay, so I'm just gonna be, this is not Endgame. This is not, Infinity Wars, which are near perfect comic book movies. This is not or even the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is a near perfect comic book movie. Mm-hmm. This has plot holes and things going on that are just suboptimal.
Yep.
But 80% of it is just completely watchable and completely enjoyable, and I'm willing to. I see it to its 80%, and I accept it to its 80%. Let's see how much of its percentage you accept it. Here at Real to Real Talk, instead of doing stars, we do tacos. And if we see something deserves a little bit extra, it's not a whole extra taco, we don't do a half a taco, we add guac. Why? Because nobody eats a half a fucking taco. So, Sergio, where do you land on Superman? All
right. So I've had it, like I said, I've had a week.
Yep.
And in that week, I've soul searched and given the movie its due. If we had talked the night of, but very, very different.
How did Kramer think, by the way?
Oh, he loved it.
Okay,
he absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Good.
And so, and we've argued about it. And so I can't even say we talked, we argued about it.
Okay.
So taken as a whole,
yep,
there are some fantastic things that are on screen.
Yeah.
Some of the discussions between Lois and Clark, that interview, stellar.
It's really good.
So much good stuff, but so much stuff that just really, really for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this 3 tacos. Sweet. And I'm going to give it guac.
Oh, we're getting guac. All right. Wow.
Because I wanted this to be a 4 or a 5 taco movie.
Okay.
And it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Now, if I've learned anything in the last few weeks, Paul, is I can, cliche, never say never, because I told you I wasn't going to watch, this or the Fantastic Four, which I got to figure out when I'm going to see it now. I just can't get past the I'm going 3 plus guac because the guac is me giving credit to all of you who love it.
Okay.
That there's something I missed or just wasn't.
Sergio, I love you. You don't need to put the guac on there to validate my feelings.
But I want to. I
appreciate that. I appreciate that. So I have mentioned that, I did really thoroughly enjoy this movie. There were genuine self-inflicted wounds in it. And that's what a 4 taco movie is. This is just quintessential 4 taco movie. And I'm hungry for more. I'm looking forward to it.
I have to tell Kramer, Nick Kramer, that what my final score is, because we talked about this several days ago, and again, that was before I thought it through.
Were you at 2 plus guac?
I was barely at 2. I was
Okay.
barely a 2. Yeah.
Okay. So the other movie we watched is on Prime currently. It's called Heads of State. It stars one of my least favorite actors on the planet, John Cena, who's not an actor, as the president of the United States of America.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba,
yeah.
As the prime minister. And okay, so I
almost want to start with the clock, so I need to work backwards.
I was watching this what day on the 9th, which I don't remember what day of the week that was. Like it was, I think, a Thursday or something.
It was.
We'll just call it a Thursday. It might have been Wednesday or Thursday last week.
Yeah.
This actually came out last week, the week before,
right?
And we decided we would just go ahead. I wasn't going to really have time to really get into this one, so we punt this to this week, so we'd have two movies to do. Right. And I sent Sergio a text. I said, I'm 10 minutes in. I hate this movie so much already. and then I said Heads of State just in case he thought I was watching Superman. All right. I have to say, so one of the conversations that come up a lot is that there will be a movie where I'm 100% in on Act 1 and Act 2, and then Act 3, they can't figure out how to end it. And this happens with streaming a lot, where Act 1 and Act 2 are just great, and then Act 3, they couldn't figure out how to fucking end it, and it just turns into a pile of turd where it's just like, oh, what, I think it was called The Gray Man.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect example. The Gray Man. I ate up Act 1, Act 2, the ending is just like, what the fuck are you even doing? It's just really strange. This actually was the exact opposite of that. Okay. I loathed the first. This is probably the worst first act of a movie. I was literally at I can't fathom enjoying a single cell of this movie, let alone And then Act 2 was like, all right, Idris Elba is definitely carrying this movie now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he's really fucking good. And all right, because they gave John Cena the first act of the movie, and just it went about as terribly as I would ever expect a movie being carried by John Cena to go. Okay. Then they were like, okay, we got to have Idris Elba carry this, and then Act 3 was really super fucking fun. And here. My biggest problem with this movie is that there are some things in reality that are going on in reality, because this movie is very much playing on what's going on in the real world.
Absolutely.
Almost as much as Superman did, honestly. Yeah. And there's only so much in my movies that I where I'm willing to accept as a joke, because that is played up as a joke.
Yeah.
Of somebody who is woefully incompetent, woefully unprepared, and woefully inappropriate to be president being voted in as president. And and who's being voted in as president just because of their celebrity and for literally nothing else more. And it's I have that in my real life, and I don't need, if you're going to do that in a movie, don't try to make it like I'm going to laugh at it, because I'm not going to. And then, oh, by the way, making it a woefully incompetent and terrible actor playing their woefully incompetent and terrible president doesn't add to the humor, and doesn't, that's not wink, wink, nod, nod, ha ha, isn't this funny? It's wink, wink, nod, nod, fuck you is what I felt like during the entire first act. Okay. And the idea that one of the things that I hated about the first act is, so what happens is the president and the prime minister get on Air Force One, and they're heading together to a NATO meeting, because this is the president's first trip to England. He's meeting the prime minister, and now he's on an airplane. He turns into a whiny bitch because the prime minister was friends with the prior president, and the prime minister doesn't love this idiot as much as he loved the prior president. And then we find out that nefarious actors, not actors in the sense of John Cena, but nefarious people with nefarious interests have infiltrated Air Force One. One person, has infiltrated Air Force One and manages to bring it down completely.
Yeah.
The theme of this movie is literally one person is way, way, way better than an army. Like there's no army that can stand up to one person if that one person has a job that they really want to do. And when it's ridiculousness like bringing down Air Force One, I found it super stupid. When it's super fun Hawaiian shirt wearing CIA agent doing it, or kind of cute MI6 agent who used to have a relationship with the prime minister, I also enjoy that. It just turns out that I didn't want my one single bad guy to bring down Air Force One because I enjoyed it in Act 2 and 3.
Yeah. Now this movie from the outset, the humor was not via John Cena. It was via Idris Elba. I think
very much we're laughing at John Cena, and I'm laughing at John Cena when we're not supposed to be laughing at John Cena. So
well, and that's the thing is like I know movies like this. I know going in what to expect. This is one of those kind of movies that Jen and I we enjoy for the sake of we're gonna find it funny. Plus, we're big Idris Elba fans.
Okay,
even though I'm a pro wrestling fan, John Cena is not on my wheelhouse of people that I follow the sport for. But and as an actor, he's always going to be the one trick pony that he is. At the end of the day, though, Idris Elba was the draw for us, and we knew that the bar was low for this film, but it was fun. At the end of it all, we had fun. Idris Elba carries it, and he so rarely gets to do humor, but he can pull off humor with his serious persona,
for sure.
And so that's there's nothing more to say about this movie other than if you don't go into it just to have some fun, then you're taking it way too serious. Don't watch this for quality.
No, that's fair. And so my expectations really should have been in the gutter. And by the way, they were.
I thought they were.
They subverted my expectations by also saying, "Hey, Paul, you're supposed to find this funny that America would vote for this incompetent idiot."
I don't find it funny either.
I didn't find that funny at all. And and the entire first act is dependent on you finding that funny.
Sure.
Because Idris Elba isn't really given a lot to do in the first act. We don't get to see Idris Elba until things go kapoo-poo. Right. And then once things go kapoo-poo, the president leans on Idris Elba, so therefore the movie leans on Idris Elba, and it's awesome. It's so good. And then we're introduced to Hawaiian shirt wearing CIA agent, which was amazing. And then they did, oh God, I loved it so much when they would do the montages of well, how did you get here? And then it's like a montage of random people doing like amazing things and to get there. And it was was great. I loved it. I loved the montages of how people came to save the president's ass. And that was
I'm glad you found some fun in it.
I did. So you can go ahead and give this your rating first.
This is 2 plus guac. This is not even a 3 for me. It's 2 plus guac. And I was really hoping because we enjoyed it, Jen and I. So
I was really hoping you would give it 3, and then I could say, well, I got to go to 2 plus guac because I was going to go 2 plus guac.
Okay.
Which honestly,
it's the best thing to do.
And the first act of the movie, it's 0 for me. Like if anybody ever says, "Hey, you don't want to sit watch it head to stay," like, sure, as long as we've skipped the first half hour. If we could just skip the first half hour, and you know how much I love a plane crash.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I love plane crashes, and I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. That there's. Air Force One isn't going down. Air Force One isn't going down like this. And this one person isn't taking down Air Force One.
Right. If things are this incompetent, then we got bigger problems. But no, I honestly, I said it earlier, and I was like, there was a point where I thought, man, we should start at the score and move backwards. And I would have been surprised if you had popped this on the screen because I'd have been like, wow, that's
I know. Than I thought he was doing. Absolutely. I'm surprised too. Surprised too because like
I feel like you watched it and it climbed to this score.
Absolutely. It was this movie. In fairness, honestly, this movie started at 2 plus guac. Like when I went into this movie, it was going to have to be more than competent to get above 2 plus guac.
Okay.
You know, like it's not good just because of my hatred for John Cena. Sure. And so that was kind of like, that's not its ceiling, because if it was actually, if the first act focused on Idris Elba, this is probably a 3 taco movie for me.
Okay.
Like if John Cena is just 100% sidekick the entire movie, this is probably a 3 taco movie for me. Okay. But unfortunately, that first act is just so abysmal that you know, it did a lot of work to get to 2 plus guac, and it actually did the work to get to 2 plus guac.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm just happy you found some enjoyment. So.
Awesome. So next week I will be here to do Eddington, and then in 2 weeks you will be here with me to do Fantastic Four.
Yes, I will. I will need to figure out when I'm going to see it, but I will see it, and I will be looking forward to discussing it and seeing where I land.
Sweet. Well, Sergio, it's awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And close us up here.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. And thank you. I love doing this, and I'm glad we're having a few weeks that we're able to. So on behalf of Paul and I, remember, you're awesome, you're amazing, and the world's a better place because you are in it. See you soon.
And go see movies.